So our next presenter, Dr. Shelly Clevenger, is an associate professor at Illinois State University. She has authored peer-reviewed journal publications and books on the topics of victimology, intimate partner abuse, and cyber victimization. Dr. Clevenger's presentation is co-authored with Dr. Giordana Navarro. She is a faculty member at the Citadel in South Carolina. Dr. Navarro researches cybercrime and domestic abuse. Her most recent work focuses on how domestic abuse is aided and facilitated by technology. This presentation will address issues related to cyber abuse of women and girls. Both Dr. Clevenger and Dr. Navarro are here, but we have only Dr. Clevenger at the mic speaking, but you are welcome to speak to both of them after the presentation.
All right, good morning, everyone. So today we have presented some recommendations for you, specifically regarding the Enough Act, which focuses on cyber sexual abuse and distribution of sexually explicit images without the consent of all parties within that image. This is often referred to as non-consensual pornography or revenge pornography. These recommendations are based on our own research, which we conducted a 5-year qualitative study with survivors of sexual assault and intimate partner violence and also their families. And in addition to experiencing in-person victimization, I'll say it again, all of the women who were survivors of intimate partner violence and sexual assault also experienced cyber victimization. Their family members as well experienced cyber victimizations. Some of these cyber victimizations included revenge pornography, which we're going to be speaking about today, but also cyber harassment, cyber stalking, sextortion, and also identity theft. The perpetrator was typically a current or former intimate partner or spouse or a friend. Based on our research and also research of others in the field, we know that interpersonal cyber victimizations rarely occur as isolated events, and they often occur with in-person victimizations. So today, based on that research, we're going to give you 3 recommendations regarding the Enough Act. Our first recommendation is that the term distribute under the Enough Act needs to be broadened to include transmitting material in other ways. Currently, the bill defines distribute as enabling access, such as by sharing a private reference. Our research shows that perpetrators show images in many ways. We suggest the term distribute should include sharing content via chat rooms, email messaging and text services, social networking sites, public and private websites, as well as sharing via an external storage device, such as a flash drive or hard drive, because even though it is offline, the perpetrator is still sharing images. And once these images are shared, the perpetrator can use that as leverage over the victim. Our second recommendation is to broaden what is considered intimate visual depiction under the Enough Act. Currently, the bill defines intimate visual depiction as an individual who is reasonably identifiable from the visual depiction itself. Perpetrators can create digital images that do not actually involve the victim. So this can be done by photoshopping the victim's face onto another body or creating completely digital images of a body that is often indistinguishable from the survivor. In the past, we have seen tactics like this with child pornography, and perpetrators often avoided early detections and arrests by law enforcement because they were not actual real minors, they were digitally created images of minors. This was finally outlawed under the PROTECT Act of 2003, and we would argue that adult victims deserve the same protection under the Enough Act. Our third recommendation regarding the Enough Act is to strengthen punishments. Currently, the Enough Act reads that if individuals violate the law, they shall be fined under this title, in prison not more than 5 years, or both. We believe, due to the life-altering impact on victims, that harsher punishments are called for. It is often very difficult to retract anything once it is on the internet. We would suggest a greater maximum prison sentence, as we feel that the 5-year maximum is not enough. If the base punishment of 5 years is left intact, we urge adding aggregating factors that should be considered when deciding punishment. Such aggravating factors include the number of individuals that the material was distributed to, the amount of content that was distributed, so 1 versus 100 images, whether the material involved an underage victim, and whether or not this act was occurring within another intimate partner abuse situation or dating violence situation. These recommendations are grounded in similar legislation regarding to other cybercrimes like digital piracy, whereas the punishment is escalated as the behavior is considered more egregious. In conclusion, we believe that enacting policies such as the Enough Act is a way to prevent and combat interpersonal cyber offenses against women and girls. Our research has shown that cybersexual abuse, or revenge pornography, crosses all demographic backgrounds, but that the majority of victims are women and girls. It is important to also say that we do not exactly know the exact amount of revenge pornography or cybersexual abuse that is occurring. I would argue, along with my co-author, that there needs to be more research and funding at the federal level should be a priority to identify what victims experience and also the true extent of this crime. Many believe that cyber victimizations are somehow less harmful because it is online. People will often say that the victim should just turn off the computer or let it go. However, this ignores 2 very important realities. First, this punishes the victim. Technology is an important part of our personal and our business or professional relationships. Asking the victim to turn off the computer is putting responsibility on them to withdraw from technology, and unrealistic given today's society. Second, even if the victim did withdraw from technology, that does not necessarily mean that the perpetrator will cease their behavior. They can continue to victimize them even if they themselves are not online. One victim in our study, Alice, said that the worst was there was absolutely no escaping it. I wanted to die. So even going offline was not a solution for her. Victims in our study lost their employment. They experienced anxiety, depression, attempted suicide, and lived in constant fear. Many participants in our study actually said that the online victimizations were worse than the in-person victimizations because they were never able to escape it, no matter what they did. This is very harmful for the victims, but also to us, where our lives are completely tied in technology. In today's world, we are ingrained in our online existence, and cyber victimizations are just as serious as in-person victimizations. It is only through government passage and enforcement of laws such as the Enough Act that we will be able to prevent these crimes and also send a message to society that this is a serious crime with real-world consequences. Thank you.